So here is how you start it off. First, you got to choose 4 colors. I'm using embroidery floss. You can buy it in all different colors. Ask your mom. You'd be amazed what sort of stuff moms have hanging around. These are the 4 colors I chose. Now you're going to want a strand of each. We want it to be nice and long, so it's easier to be too long instead of too short. So you can always cut things shorter. I did a full arm span. So if I held my hands out and I stretched it all the way as far as I could, I cut mine about that length each. You guys, being a little bit smaller than me, might want to go a little bit more than an arm span. Okay. Then I'm going to take my 2 sets of ends, line them up, so I'm folding the strings in half. Okay. So I folded them in half. Now I want to make a little loop and knot in the middle, because we're actually going to be needing 8 strands for this. To make the knot, here's what I do. I'm going to take the loop, I'm going to wrap it around 2 fingers. So see how it kind of made that X? I'm going to take this loop and I'm going to push it through the center here. And then I'd pull it out. You do not want a giant loop, you'd want to pull it a bit shorter. Let's do that one more time so you can see. So be amazed how many people don't know how to make knots. All right, oh no, what's this purple doing here? Open it back up. Oh, what is happening? There we go. Wait, that purple doesn't like me. Okay, so again, I have the middle of my yarn. I'm going to kind of take it in one hand. I'm going to take 2 fingers here and I'm going to flip it so it makes that X. And then take that middle loop, put it through between these 2 fingers and pull it out tight. I'd recommend going, even that's a bit large. I'd probably recommend a bit smaller of a loop than that. Okay, so we have our nice loop. Now, when I work on friendship bracelets, I really like to sit and work on it on the couch while watching TV. It's really easy. So if I was to do that, I would take a safety pin, I would put it through my loop, and then I would hook it onto my pants by my knees so I can work on it easy, or safety pin it onto the couch in front of you. You want to stabilize it so it's not moving around. To start this off, I'm just going to use some tape so that way I can do it here, and then I'll probably move to the couch later as I get farther along this. But the whole point is you want to make sure it doesn't move around. Now, we need to split up our colors. Now, little tangles like this are going to happen. Friendship bracelets definitely take a little bit more patience. So take your time, untangle it. Now you got to decide your order, but whatever you do on one half, you got to do the exact same on the other half. All right, so you can see how we have greens on the outside, then I have my kind of yellow, green, blue, purple in the center. So same thing on each half. That's going to be key. If you don't do that, this will not make a nice chevron pattern. So it's not the end of the world, you just won't get as nice a pattern. Okay, so we're going to start on this left-hand side. I'm going to swing them over just a little bit to make it easier to see. Swing those out of the way. We got to make sure we keep our order. All right, so we start from the outside. So that means I'm going to be starting with the greens. Now, as we work our way across, we're going to do 2 knots on each. So here's the trick to doing that. You're going to take your outside strand and the one next to it, and you're going to make a 4. See how that kind of makes a 4? Now, you're going to take the tail of the green, or whatever your outside piece is, go behind and pull it up through the center of the 4. So that makes a knot, and pull it tight. So you're going to do 2 of those. So I'll make another 4, 4, go underneath, come up through the center of the 4, tie it off. Now make sure your knots are always nice and snug and tight. So now I've done the yellow-green, so now I move on to the blue. 4, under and up, nut, 4, under and up, nut. Blue's done. Now purple, 4, under, up, tight, 4, under, up, tight. So now my outside color is in the middle. So now that it's in the middle, we want to stop and do the same thing on the other half, so my right hand half. So I'm going to swing these guys back into place just to make it a little easier, keeping that order. Let colors spread out. There we go. So now we need to do it a little bit opposite. So we're going to do a backwards 4. It's almost making a 9. So that will go underneath and up through the center. Pull it tight. Backwards 4, under and up through the center, tight. Onto the blue. 4, under the blue, up through the center, tight. Backwards 4, under, up, tight. Oops, I got a little snag there. Always make sure they're getting nice and tight. And then the purple. 4, under, up, tight. Always 2 on each one. Under, up, tight. All right, so now our 2 sets of greens are in the center. So now I want to take my 2 greens, use the right one, do that backwards 4, and double knot these ones too. Under, up, tight, under, up, tight. All right, so that is 1 round through, and I'm going to do the same thing on every color, starting from the outside, working my way in, then I'll do the other side, outside to in, do the 2 together, then I move on to the next color. And you just keep doing that process all the way down, making sure your colors are nice and tight as you go, making sure they don't get tangled. I'm going to do a few more here in kind of a little bit faster speed so you can kind of get the hang of it, and then I'll show you the finished product at the end. right, so as you see, I got a few rows down and you can really start to see that chevron design start to show up. So key here is just take your time, make sure you do the colors in your right order, make sure your knots are nice and tight. I'm going to personally move on, oops, sorry, it's wiggling a bunch. I'm going to take this to the couch so I can sit and watch some TV. This would also be great listening to an audiobook or having conversation with your family. It takes some time to do a full bracelet's worth, but it's a nice way to just kill some time while keeping your fingers busy so it keeps your brain working. So keep going with this. I'll come back when it's all done and show you how to finish it off. Alright guys, I've been working on it for about an hour and a half, 2 hours now, and this is about as far as I've gotten done. It is not done. I still have a ways I could keep going. However, I wanted to finish up this video and get it posted for you guys. See, it is not quite done. I would like it to be a bit farther than that. But I want to show you how to finish it, so that way you guys know how to complete it. If you look, I definitely made some mistakes along the way. This is my first time doing this pattern, so it is not perfect. But you know what? That is okay. A true friend will just care about the thought, not the final look. Alright, so to finish it off, you have some options. What I would say would be the easiest way would be to simply tie it on to the person you're giving it to. So don't worry about putting any knots at the end. You would simply get your loops ready at the end, put it around their wrist, obviously. So let's pretend, let's see, what could I use to be a fake wrist? Let's use this random jar. Okay, so you'd put it around their wrist and then you need to tie it off. So I would split it in half. I take one half and put it through my loop in the very beginning. Might be a little bit of work, but get them all pulled through. And then tie it off to your other half. So I'd go one knot, tie it, 2 knots, tie. Now, when you're tying it on an actual wrist, you do not want to go as tight as possible because you know what, that's gonna hurt. But you don't want to go so loose that it can fall off. So you got to find that happy medium point, tie it into that second knot, and trim off any extras with scissors. Okay, if you wanted, you could go a different way with this. If you happen to have any buttons sitting around at home, you can tie a button to the end. Now what's cool about a button is that it makes it so you can take the bracelets on and off. So I actually do not have any buttons here at home, but I would thread 1 or 2 of my strings from each half into my button and tie it off so that way there'd be that big button at the end, trim off any extra. That way my button could just go through the loops and hold it tight and I could go on and off easier. Just some ideas. Try out different colors. There are many different patterns online. Love to see what sort of friendship bracelets you guys come up with.